This episode of Dreams and Drive is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's is more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's an unofficial community center. I'm loving it.
Stick with the journey. It's a roller coaster. Some days you're going to be screaming. Some days you're going to be down low where you're like, okay, this is cool. Then it's going to go back up again. You're going to be like, what the hell I get myself into? I'm like, you just really can't lose focus of what the goal is. Why are you trying to do this? What is the void that you're trying to fill? Once you get that, just never take your eyes off of that. I'm like, just start. You could prepare. You could read all the books in the world. You go to all the seminars you want. Yeah, you might get some information, but experience is the best teacher. If you keep banging, eventually the hinge is going to loosen, then keep banging and the door going to fall and you could walk in. You just got to keep knocking. Like, I knew that this wasn't it, but I didn't believe that I could live the freedom-filled life that I wanted just being a makeup artist. Like, I just didn't think that until, hi, this is Jessica of King Elizabeth Makeup Artistry, and you're listening to Dreams and Drive.
Hey, Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 281 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. And today we are going to be speaking with Jessica Emerson, aka King Elizabeth. King Elizabeth, aka Jess, is a celebrity makeup artist from Orange, New Jersey. She has over a decade worth of beauty experience, and her brand, King Elizabeth Makeup Artistry, was birthed in 2012 and began to gain her peer recognition around 2014. On this episode, we're going to really talk about Jess's entire dream driving journey, from what she thought her life would be like post-college into what she's doing now. Like me, Jess is a first-time pandemic mother. Our babies are about like 5 days apart. So it's really cool that we're able to chat about that. Dream driving as a mama, dream driving as a woman, dream driving as a professional, really trying to build her brand and her career. But it's something that happened naturally. After leaving medical school to pursue her dream of dominating the beauty industry, she began to really dive deep into honing her beauty skills. And with the support of her family and friends, she was able to create a foundation that has been able to stand the test of time. I'm really excited for you all to hear Jessica's story and as well hear her keys to success and all the tips that she shares about this journey. Remember, if you enjoy this episode, please make sure that you're sharing it with your community. You can find us across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are Dreams and Drive, and use the hashtag Dreams and Drive as well. If you hear Axel in the background, listen, this is what dream driving is about. Getting it done at all costs. And if you want to join our weekly newsletter, The Keys, and get weekly updates delivered to your inbox, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. All right, let's hear from Jess.
Hey, girl. Hey, thanks for having me.
I am super excited to have you on the show. Like we have to tell the listeners, right? Like this, we go way, way back. And it's funny because the way that we connected is from a swimming class, right?
Yes.
Yeah, our mother is, I think,
children. My mom worked at the pool desk at the Y.
Yeah, the YWCA here in Orange. And I think my mom used to take us for swimming classes, and that's how we connected.
Yeah.
And then I think
we were in the same scholars program.
Well, you're right? a better chance.
You're a better chance, right?
Yeah. And so then, we used to go to I think we used to go to like the same little holiday parties or whatever it was. Yeah. And so we kind of always, and then with social media, we always kind of stayed in touch. So I've kind of seen you in your journey through college and post-college and all of that. So it's kind of good to be able to just be
and
like,
what a journey it was.
Doing your thing.
Same. Yes, Raina. What?
Two girls from Orange. We made it out. Well, not made it out in that sense, but you know what I mean? Like, we're doing great things now, so.
Right. Definitely. And I'm proud of the both of us because it was not easy, to say the least.
Listen, well, we're going to talk about all of that, but let's kind of go back to that childhood moment, right? I think it's really important to reflect on who we were as kids. So tell me, Jessica, if you can remember, hopefully you can, right? Because we're still young. I know I still feel young at heart, right?
Right.
What was inspiring you as a child? Like, what were the things, or what were your dreams as young Jessica?
Oh, young Jessica always knew that she would never work for anybody. That's something that I remember as a kid. Like, I knew I wanted to be a doctor, so that's what I went to school for. And I just was like, I'm going to own my own. I wanted to do drug rehab. And in my family, we grew up holistic. So I wanted to take like a holistic approach to drug rehabilitation. So that is what I always wanted to do. That's what I went to college for. That's what my degrees are in. But my inspiration growing up, and I know this sounds crazy because they really don't coincide, but my inspiration growing up was music. I loved music. I loved music videos. And I mean, I'm sure now it's evident with like being in the industry and makeup and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I just thought I loved the freedom that I saw in Black people in those moments. So even if it was like a pump fake and they really weren't living that life, I saw the freedom in having the means to travel and take care of your family and those things. And that was something I was like, well, they don't work for anybody. At least I thought they don't work for anybody. I need to be an entrepreneur so I can have that type of freedom, even though that doesn't, they aren't necessarily synonymous. But growing up, that was my inspiration. And in church, my pastor was always a woman. So just seeing that. And I remember like as a kid when my friends would come to church in like middle school and high school, they would come to church and they'd be like, oh, you didn't tell me your pastor was a woman, because I would speak so highly of her. And I never knew that was a thing, that there were, like that was a thing. Like, oh, your pastor's a female? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Like, why does it matter, right?
Yeah, I just never thought to mention it because in my brain, I'm like, it's a pastor, like that's it. Pastors are pastors. But, just growing up in that environment, like a non-denominational Christian church where one day you come in on a Sunday as rappers, the next, like that freedom to just be yourself. And of course, my mother, well, you know who she is. She's always been like that person.
Your mother has always, at least from what I can remember of her, I just feel like she always had that spirit of creativity and that spirit of follow the beat of your own drum, right?
Yeah, she would hate for me to be a follower.
How do you think that also played? And now that you're a mom, right, you understand how planting those seeds of following the beat, like not being a follower, is so important. But thinking back as to, when you were young, how did that really influence you? Having this mother who really instilled in you, like, girl, you are your own person.
No, seriously. And that was like from the time I could understand words and verbiage. My mom made it very clear to my sister and I who we were as Black women in America, and the freedom that we have, like to not live in bondage. Like you're capable of doing everything else that this person's capable of doing. And just seeing my mother go, tune of her own drum, because we were the only ones that lived in New Jersey in my family. My whole family's from Brooklyn. So we lived here by ourselves. Like my mother had to uproot herself and move here so she can provide a better life for us. And just seeing her do that and journey through those struggles and those triumphs as a child, it just inspired me, because I'm like, okay, I really could do anything. Like I really could do anything that I remember. I watched Love and Basketball. I swore up and down I was going to be a basketball player in my heart. I felt it deep in my soul.
You're tall, so you could be, right?
I know. I was like, this is what it is. And mind you, I've been tall my whole life. So everyone's like, you should play basketball. I'm like, absolutely not. But watching Love and Basketball, I knew that I was going to be in the WNBA. I told my mother I wanted to play basketball. My mother went that next weekend. She bought me a basketball. She put me on a basketball team at the Y with Coach Shoes. And I was on the team for one day. I went to one practice. One.
Why? What didn't you like about basketball?
This isn't for me. It was too aggressive. I didn't like that people were bumping into me. Coming from a swimmer's background, we don't do all that. It's a no contact sport, swimming. You don't touch anybody. And you're bumping into me. It's fouls. I got to do all of this running around. It's a no. So I remember my mom came. She was like, "How was practice?" I was like, "I'm not coming back." And she was like, "Okay." I still have that basketball till this day. And she was like, "You don't have to." And I was like, she was like, "But if I signed up for something and I agreed to it, like that was trying something out. But if I agreed to it, that's another thing my mother was very adamant about. You have to keep your word. Now, if I didn't want to come back to the dance school the next year, that's fine. But if we signed up for it and you said you were going to be here, you're going to see it through."
Well,
and that's
so
where
important.
Discipline comes in as an entrepreneur. And now trying to raise Brooklyn, I try to have a fine line, because some things my mom was like me and my sister were the only two people in Orange School District exempt from wearing school uniform. My mother wasn't having it. She's like, "We're not wearing school uniform. You already got to learn everything everybody learns. You got to act the same way. And now they want you guys all to dress the same way?" Absolutely not. So that was something like, now my niece wears uniform and me and my mother are looking like, so you just gonna let her wear uniform? Like, you're just gonna let her do that? And I'm like, what am I gonna do when Brooklyn goes to school? Like, there's
That's
so
so
many
funny.
things that I just don't agree with. And I'm gonna have to let her navigate that, and I just don't know how.
There's so many decisions we have to make as mothers that we don't realize, right? Until we have to make them. So you went to Fairleigh Dickinson, right?
I did. Yes.
Talk to me about this young Jessica going into college. You had this idea of what your life would be like, right? You thought you were going to go to like the whole drug rehab world, social, driven, impact, all that stuff. Did it happen like that, Jessica?
No. So before, well, we were in a better chance. So Fairleigh Dickinson wasn't even like a safety school. I'd applied to Fairleigh Dickinson because the application was one page and there was no essay. And they sent it to me in the mail and it was free. So I was like, oh, I'll apply. And then when I got in, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not going there. I actually wanted to go to Hampton, which I got in. But that's a whole nother story. Fast forward, I'm in school. I didn't want to be there, because it wasn't even an option for me.
Did you like school or you just didn't want to be there?
I just didn't want to be there. I just didn't want to be there. I actually wanted to take a year off. And my mom was like, being raised by a woke mother, she's like, black kids don't have the privilege to take off.
It's true, because you might never come back, right?
It's the truth. Right. She's like, black kids don't have the freedom to take a year off, because coming from a predominantly white school, in high school and middle school, my white counterparts, they're going backpacking in Europe for a year. They're like,
their parents are funding their lives, right?
Yeah, and my mother's like, no, you're going to go to school. I don't know what you're thinking, but you're going to school. So when I got to FDU, I didn't want to be there at all. So my thought process was, I'm getting in and I'm getting out. I took 18 credits a semester. I never took dropped a class. I passed all my classes, no matter how hard it was. I did that. I did go to school dressed to my labs dressed like this. I had makeup, wigs, all of that, heels, everything, because I swore I was going to be the Joan Clayton of the medical field. That's in my brain. That's what I thought. And then upon graduating, my mentor at the time, when I was in that field, he was just like, yo, I think you would do better doing something that makes you happy. School's easy for you. You can get through school. We got that.
Yeah.
But I feel like you going to med school, you might want to take a break and, try to do something else. But in college, I had already started doing makeup because I used to model and things like that. So on campus, I would do makeup for the socials. Oh, y'all come to my dorm room, $15, $10, whatever. It was my side hustle. So I was known for the girl that me and my best friend Stacy, we were known for the two girls that dress and wear makeup and colored lipstick and that vibe. But so I was already known for makeup. So that was just a hustle that stuck with me. And then I transitioned.
When your mentor said that, right, you should do something that makes you happy, what was your response? Because I think
I was
sometimes,
you're crazy.
Look, because sometimes I think, especially as being coming from, these Black parents who have such high expectations for us, it's kind of you don't got to be happy, right? Happiness shouldn't be the number one thing when it comes to making a life, right? At least that's what we thought. That's how we were raised. So what did you do with what he said?
I did not take heed at all. I was like, he's crazy. I'm happy. What are you talking about? And in my brain, I thought that the end goal of owning my own business, drug rehab, going through that process, the end result would make me happy, right? And then as you go through life in general, you learn that the journey is actually where you need to find your happiness, right? Because the end result may not come the way you think it's going to come. So I didn't take heed at all. I was just like, I don't know what he's talking about. You just wrote me a recommendation for med school. What are you talking about? No, I'm going to school. I'm graduating and I'm going to school again. And he was just like, I think you should take some time off and do something that really you would be really, really good at. And he was like, I don't know what that is, but you're good at school, but I don't think that you would be able to excel in the way that you want to in your personal life if you don't choose to do something happy. So that makes you happy. And I was just like,
So did you end up applying to med school? Like what was
Sure did.
what was the path for you post college?
So post college, I was working 3 jobs. I was cleaning gym equipment. I cried every day.
It was hard. Like it's funny because you always think
depressed.
When you're young, you think, oh, after college, life becomes it, and then then life after college comes, and you're like, this is not it. This is
not it. No, I cried every damn day, pretty much. I was cleaning gym equipment. I couldn't believe that part of my life. I was getting paid the least I probably ever got paid in my life. Even like as I worked in high school, I got paid more than what I did post college. And I still was doing like makeup here and there because, again, people knew me for that. And I started working for my doctor, who actually is a holistic doctor, and working in his office in the long hours, and just like the whole aspect of being a Black doctor who does preventative medicine. That experience, I was like, okay, yeah, I can't do this. So then I started like doing social work because, I had a degree, psychology, bio, whatever, it worked. So I was like, okay, I'll do this. I cried every day doing that.
But wait, when you were crying every day, did you ever think like maybe this isn't it? Or were you just like, all right, I got to keep going through it?
But I didn't believe that, like at that point, I knew that makeup was a passion for me, and not so much makeup, but just making people feel better was a passion for me. And when you're growing up, you think that the only way you can make people feel better is if you're a doctor, like that's what people say. Oh, I like to help people. And what do adults tell you? You should be a doctor. And that's not necessarily true. I tell people all the time, I've helped way more people as a makeup artist than I've ever helped being a social worker or in the medical field. I knew that it wasn't it. Like, I knew that this wasn't it, but I didn't believe that I could live the freedom-filled life that I wanted just being a makeup artist. Like, I just didn't think that until I got my mentor, Karen Dupiche, who is 4-time Emmy Award-winning makeup artist on The View. Brown Black girl from East Orange. But until she became my mentor, and seeing her and working with her, I'm like, okay, this shit is possible. And that's why I think it's so important for representation for Black kids in general, Black and brown kids, because we need to see that that's possible. Like we need to see that, okay, I could be a makeup artist and really excel and have that freedom and be able to provide for myself and my family and things like that. Growing up, I never saw a makeup artist ever, and not any that looked like me. So now I think it's really cool that brown folks call me and be like, my niece wants to be a makeup artist. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's so great. But no, I knew that there was something better. I just didn't think that, I didn't have the faith then that I have now that God is always going to provide. So I didn't have that faith. I just felt like I had to work until get a job with benefits and work. Like, that's what I thought.
So talk to me about the moment, that aha moment, that light bulb moment where you decided to take a chance on yourself. And, maybe not that you weren't taking your makeup seriously, but when you started to say, all right, I have this gift, I have this talent, I have this passion. Let me stop playing games and do something with it.
That aha moment it came twice. So I tried it once and I was like, I'm going to do this full time. And then that was like an epic fail. But the most recent moment of, okay, I'm going to do this full time was I was working at a salon, and I was there like, booth rent, whatever. And I spoke to my mentor and she was like, what are you doing at a hair salon? Doing makeup at a hair salon. And I was like, well, it's a beauty bar. It's this and this. And she's like, it's a hair salon. And nobody's looking for a makeup artist at a hair salon. And I was like, okay, didn't take heed. She called me and she was like, I need you to leave the hair salon. Like, you have to step out. And I was like, okay, still didn't take heed. A month later, me and the owner, there was some issues. And I was just like, okay, I don't really like the way this is being ran, whatever. And me and the owner are still cool to this day. Shout out to Johanna. No beef. And I stepped out. And the next week, I got booked for my first national hair campaign, ever. With my mentor.
Pause real quick. Were you promoting yourself beyond this, on social media and stuff? People knew that you did makeup, right? Or
people knew that I did makeup, and at that time I I would introduce myself as a makeup artist. Like,
Okay.
oh, I'm a makeup artist. Even when I was working other jobs, I would always tell people I would be sitting at the pool with a full face in the sun and being like, oh, I'm a makeup artist. Like, that's just what it was. Once I got to that point of, like, this is what I want to do. And when I booked the hair campaign and I found out how much I was getting paid, I was like, wait, hold up. I'm getting paid how much? To do what? Oh, okay. Now I just got to keep repeating this. Like, now I just got to keep doing this and keep doing it and keep doing it. And that was like the aha moment. Like, girl, you could do this. Like, you are enough. You belong in these spaces. You belong in this room, and your skills have brought you here. Like, it's not this person, so you're in. No, your skills brought you here because my mentor could have called anybody. Trust me. Like, she could have called anybody to be on set with her, but she called me. So that was something that was like the aha click, like, girl, you're enough. You could do this shit. And then from there, I just hit the ground running. I was like, there's no looking back.
So what was the time period for this? Let's anchor this in a time.
This was 2000. Okay, so I started doing makeup professionally like 2012. One of my brothers, he's a photographer. So when I was like, that was my first try. Like, I want to be a makeup artist. So he would call me all the time, and I started doing makeup for, well, you told me back then what I was posting. So I was doing makeup for the strippers, the porn stars.
It don't matter. So listen, you got to start somewhere.
I love them, and they know that I love them, and they still come and get their makeup done by me. But, that's how I started doing doing makeup. And, that led to like doing some reality stars, things like that. So that's when I started in 2012. So fast forward, this was about 2016-ish when I left the salon and that whole situation. But yeah, like 2016. But I started professionally doing makeup in 2012. So from 2012 to 2016, I was like working jobs, doing makeup, trying to build my brand, trying to figure this out, trying to figure out what, it is. Because back then I think I was gorgeous makeup still.
Oh, I remember that. Like, yeah.
People forget.
I remember. I think we did like a brand consultation. Remember when I was doing brand consultations back in the day? You hit me up and you're like, "I need a branding consultation." I remember that.
And it's so funny how we both makeup.
Yeah, how we both evolved in so many ways. So 2016,
and now people don't even remember that was a thing. Oh, the lack of support, that was like the hardest thing, because coming from a mom who has always supported me in everything. And then I think more so for her, it was hard. And now that I'm a mother, I get it. When you've invested so much into your child and you think that they will, become this whatever. You get what I'm saying? And that doesn't happen. And now they're like, oh, I want to be a makeup artist. And my mother's like, girl, we spent all that money in college for you to be. My mother literally said to me, we spent all this money in college for you to play in makeup.
And that must have hurt a little bit, right? Because
that hurt me so bad. Like, that hurt me so bad. Like, she's like, no, you are working 3 jobs. You need to go and get a real job. And like, no. And that hurt me so bad. Because I'm like, bro, you supported everything. You support my one day on the basketball team. Like, how are you not going to support this vibe? Later on, we had a conversation about it because I had to express her like, bro, that really hurt me a lot. But that was like the hardest part, was like navigating and not having that support, because when I would speak to her about things that I was dealing with, she'd be like, well, you should just go get a job. Like, you got a degree, go to work, And I was just like, but that's not what I need right now. That was the hardest part. But then that's why I always tell people, sometimes you're not going to people don't respond to things in the way that you want them to. And that's no harm or foul. And you have to accept that, and I don't hold it against her at all, ever. Because she supported me in so many other ways. And that one issue doesn't negate all the other things that my mom has done and continues to do for me.
So how did you push past that, though? Because like, you could have just been like, all right, mommy not supporting me. This ain't it. I'm just going to go back to it.
Well, my innate nature is, bitch, I got to prove you wrong. And I'm just to my mother, but that's to everybody. Like, that's just how I am. I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Like, that's just me. ex-boyfriends. Oh, you think that I'm okay? Watch the level up, and I'm gonna level up and level up and level up. Like I'm gonna figure it out because I just don't want you to think that what I know God gave me wasn't right. Like, no, I'm gonna have to show you. Like, no, God is real. But now my mom is on some like, did you see Jessica did?
Now she is sold through, right?
She is King Elizabeth's #1 fan. Okay. She loves it. She buys stuff from my studio. She's like, oh, like I got plants in here because of her. She was in here like doing everything, helping me wipe the walls. Like she's #1 supporter.
I think also too, now that we're parents, you realize like when your kid doesn't listen to you, right, but still makes it. It's like, oh, that's my baby. Okay, like
right.
You didn't listen, but it still all worked out. So I think that's also like a pride too, right? Because she knew she instilled in something in you that you still figured it out.
She knew I was going to get it done.
Yeah.
But no, I got past it because I was just like, girl, you can't sit and wallow. You can't sit and wallow and go through that aspect.
All right. So, it's tough in the beginning, right? Lack of support. What else? Because building a brand from scratch is it for the
money, revenue, can't get a loan. They're not handing me loans out to Black folks to open businesses. That's not happening. And then still trying to like sustain your life. Like you still have to be a mom. Well, now I'm a mom, but you still have to be a daughter. You still have to be a sister. You still have to live. There's bills that need to be paid. We're not going to get started on student loans. And I'm trying to, every little bit that I make, I got to reinvest it. Like, how am I eating? Like, you get what I'm saying? So that was the other part because I've always been in a position, even with working 3 jobs or being a lifeguard, whatever, I've always been in a position to take care of myself. So being just pretty much cold turkey, okay, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. That shit was like, girl, what are you doing? Like on month 3, when the money started dwindling, I'm like, I should have saved some more money. What was I thinking? Like, I'm poor. Like, we don't have any money, like none. Like bank account is 0. Like, what are you doing? And then having to overcome that to have faith in yourself that no, you can do this. And then I just realized that money comes and goes. And
yep. Like you can't, like, it's just going to be, that's how it is. When did you figure out what your magic sauce was going to be? Right. Because I feel like there's a part when you're in the hustle, when things start working, right? Like what were the ingredients to your magic sauce? I mean, you don't gotta give us all the tools, right? But like, what did you realize was what was making it work for you when things started to pick up?
The one thing I say the 2 things, experience. I made sure that everybody that came in contact with me, whether they were getting their face done or not, people on the street, whatever, they had a good experience with me. That was one thing because a lot of people that have never even booked a face with me, I have made thousands of dollars with. You get what I'm saying? Just from referrals. Because they like me. And I try to be a good person because being a makeup artist, being a hairstylist, being an interview, you're integrated in people's lives and moments that are going to be with them for the rest of their lives. And I want to make sure that people, when I'm in those spaces or in that moment, that you are having a good experience, at least with me. I may not be able to control everything else going on around you, but at least when you step into King Elizabeth's aura, Jess's aura, that you're going to have a good experience. So that was one of the secret sauces. I was like, okay, experience, because I started realizing when I would say, oh, book me on my website, or, when clients would call me or say they're in my chair, like, oh, I wish I could really, what was that foundation that you used? Or, what color and da-da-da. And I would say, oh, well, next time you're in Walgreens, take my number down and I'll tell you which color to buy. And like those little things where they're like, oh, okay, no other artist does this, or, no other makeup artist did this before. Or, I've never experienced that. So that was one thing of the secret sauce. I'm like, okay, people will pay for good experiences.
As you guys know, this episode of Dreams and Drive is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. And for me, McDonald's is more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It really is like an unofficial community center. One of the memories I have as a kid is having gone to McDonald's birthday party at some point in my life, right? I remember being like 6, 7, and the biggest thing was if your friend was having a McDonald's birthday party, there were 2 things that were guaranteed. You were going to have a Happy Meal, and you were going to get to play in that big play pit. I love being able to think back on those memories and just see how much McDonald's really has served as a community pillar for so many of us dream drivers. Beyond that, McDonald's has probably been the first job of someone that you know. It's been a pit stop destination on a family road trip that you can rely on. And this may be a little bit more new, but their Wi-Fi is always dependable. And as a dream driver, you know how important it is to have that dependable Wi-Fi, especially when you're eating in person and you want to get some work done. McDonald's, I'm loving it. This AHA episode of Dreams and Drive is brought to you by AHA. And before you ask, why are you talking like this? Please allow me to explain. AHA is a bold, sparkling water with a 2-in-1 flavor combination in every kahan. Ahavri Sango Kahan. Not almost every kahan, every last one. I promise. Flavor kahambos include blueberry and pomegranate, lime and watermelon, or peach and a honey. Some flavors like mango and black tea are even caffeinated with caffeine. Caffeinated sparkling water, they're AHA to something. You can look for AHA anywhere you buy sparkling water and get your hands on some today. And I know it sounds too good to be true, but it's not. AHA sparkling water. Can I get a AHA? Yep. And I think when you said experience, the thing I also thought about is you were also becoming a more experienced makeup artist as well, right?
Because at first I know what I was doing, but thank God for mercy.
Let's flash forward, because I think this is a big part of your story now, right? January, at least I'm saying January because this was my timeline. Mm-hmm. January 2020, because our babies are very close in age, like days apart. Your life changed, right? How did your life change in January 2020?
Girl, I literally found out I was pregnant the end of January, early February. Yeah, it was actually, I found out, and this is how I remember, I found out I was pregnant the weekend that Kobe Bryant died.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how I remember when I found out that I was pregnant. And I was flying to Miami that Kobe died with that Sunday. I was flying to Miami that Monday. My life was like, what the fuck am I going to do? And to be quite honest, and I love Brooklyn and everybody that knows me knows this, but I never wanted children. Like, I never wanted kids. I always was like, I'm going to be a stepmom or I'm going to have no kids. I'm going to be the rich auntie. Kids are expensive. I don't have the time to budget. I can't move the way I need to move when you got a baby on your hip. You just can't. As a mom, men are different, but moms, we take on that responsibility. Very different. At least first. Exactly. We take on that responsibility differently than men. Then like my life I can't travel as much being pregnant and running back and forth.
You got your own business.
This is pre-COVID, like running back and forth to clients. That's not happening like with a belly. So just like, I was just so scared. I remember telling my mom, and I cried. Like, I was so upset when I told my mom that I was pregnant. And she was just like, girl, what are you crying for? Like, you gonna be okay. And I was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my baby. Like, what am I gonna do? And she was like, you're gonna be okay. Like, literally, she's like, it's all gonna work out. You're gonna be okay.
Did you believe her?
No. No,
I say that because I remember how I felt, right?
How am I gonna be okay? Like, how? How am I gonna? I just couldn't see it at that time. Like, how am I gonna be okay? And then COVID happened. I'm like, oh shit. Like,
now the whole pregnancy experience is just pandemic. Having a pandemic pregnancy was out of this world, right?
Yes, it was very much so. Like having to go to your doctor's appointments by yourself and. Yeah, that was
and just not knowing like what was going to happen, like not wanting to get sick, and then your baby gets sick, and it's just there was a whole bunch of fear. So you have fear of the world
all day because you can't. Like, I don't know about your doctor, but my doctor told me straight out the gate. Like at first he was like a little chill. Then once it really started getting out of hand, he's like, "You have to go in the house. Like you can't." I couldn't go to the grocery store. I couldn't do shit, and I was just like happy at times when like my daughter's father Or like my mom be like, yo, you want to ride with me to the, and I couldn't even get out the car. I would sit in the car while they were at Home Depot or like Walmart with like, I remember towards the end of my pregnancy, my daughter's father had to go to Walmart. So he's like, yo, you want to come to Walmart? I'm like, can I come? He's like, yeah. It started raining. And he was like, you should go sit in the car. I was like, no. Like I was, please let me stay
like
outside.
People, I'm
like
pregnant.
people,
I remember going out and like just trying to show off my belly because like you weren't interacting with like friends as much, family.
No.
It was so different.
I saw people when I did my drive-by baby shower. That was like the first time.
Even having the drive-by baby shower, right?
Yeah, like both of us were pregnant at the same time. So like even our maternity photos and like those things, it was like the transition of what you think your first child pre-COVID would be like. You're like, oh, people are going to see that I'm pregnant. Well, I'm very private, you know that. So I didn't think people would probably see I was pregnant unless they saw me in person. Because I was just like, I'm not posting anything. But then after a while, I'm like, okay, nobody knows anything. And my friends and family are like, girl, you're sending us all of these beautiful photos and we can't post anything.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, they're like, nobody's going to see you in person. You're in the house. I'm just like, all right, y'all can post one picture.
Yeah. And then you kind of realize too, I think that for me, it became liberating. Like once you finally did post it and you realize, all right, I had all this fear before, but now you're coming into yourself and like starting to get excited. Like did you ever get past that moment of fear and into excitement?
My first trimester was trash. I was on bed rest for like, I found I was pregnant end of January, early February. I was on bed rest like the weekend after Valentine's Day. Okay. And I was there. I got off bed rest the day before the world shut down.
Oh my God.
So like as soon as I got off bed rest, I'm like, finally, I'll go back outside. Back down. Yeah. And literally it was like, sit back down, bro. I'm like, are you kidding me? So just even that aspect. But once I got out of the clear of like the bed rest and the whole process of, your first trimester and all the things that can go wrong. First off, not even first trimester, just in pregnancy in general and all the things that can go wrong. I remember telling myself at one point, like, whatever is going to be is going to be, and you cannot live in fear. So like whatever happens during this journey, I have to accept the journey for what it is. And I know that God either way is going to cover me. And then that's when I started getting excited. I'm like, okay, like now I'm about to have a whole child. A whole daughter.
You found out you were having a girl, right?
Yeah.
Mini
I found out I was having a girl. No, literally. Well, you've seen her. She's literally a mini me. And like picking her name and just like going through that whole process and just getting her coming home outfits. And that all was exciting to me. Like that was a good time. Like preparing.
Now that she's here, right? How do you feel like motherhood has informed entrepreneurship for you? Like, how did it change your business? And at the same time, how did it change you? Yeah, let's start with how did it change your business and the way you did business or approached your business?
Before I was out in these streets before I became a mother. I'm like, you want me to do makeup at the strip club? I'm doing makeup at the strip club. Then I'm staying for the chicken wing. But, I don't even eat chicken, but back in my day, yeah. But then when I became a mother, I'm like, okay, well, how am I going to safely take on clientele again? And because like the whole time I was pregnant, my clients, some of them were like, are you going to come back to doing makeup? Because what am I going to do without you? Even when I was pregnant and, stuff started opening back up towards the end of our pregnancies and people needed their makeup done and things like that. I wasn't doing makeup. I didn't see any clients my whole pregnancy. So changing just like the aspect of like moving my studio out of my home, like I just wanted to be safe for Brooklyn. I don't want people coming in and out with my child here, and just having all that different type of energy and around her. Everything is about Brooklyn now. Like the way I move, my whole business is to her, like everything. And prior to that, I always would be like, oh, I'm going to leave my business or my money or whatever, my life insurance, this, that, and the third, my investments to like my nieces. I'm going to just split them up and things like that. They still going to get something. But now that Brooklyn's here, I'm like, everything has to go there. Like, I did not work this hard for her to have to work this hard, you know?
Exactly.
And so that changed like just my whole thought process and just like, I don't want to say legitimizing my business because it was already legit, but just like the moves that I made and, really, really, really buckling down and getting shit done because I'm like,
You
I don't
got
have time.
Like,
I don't have time.
What did we do? The question I always ask myself is, girl,
what was I doing before?
Like, when you could just go to sleep whenever you wanted, you could wake up when, like, what? Like, I'll be wondering sometimes, like, yo, you was wasting your time, girl. You could have.
When I tell you wasting time, I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? Excuse my French. What the heck was I doing before Brooklyn? Like, I literally sit and think, and like, thank God for Snapchat because things will pop up. And I'm like, oh, that's what I was in Miami on a yacht. That's what I was doing. Like, that's what I was doing. But now that stuff's not even entertaining to me. I'm just like, oh, where can I take Brooklyn for, like, I'm trying to take a trip to Dubai. I'm like, let's go to Dubai. Let's do this. Let's do that. Like, I want to start traveling with her and like really giving her the life that I feel like she deserves.
Yep.
And that freedom of her to be like, no, I'm well traveled. I'm well educated. Just everything is about her. Is that for you? Like, everything is about
it's funny because I keep thinking about, like, how does this affect him, right? And the thing for me that I think that I just love, and I don't know with Brooklyn, it's like seeing him experience things for the first time, right? Like, he learned the word birds the other day, and it's like he got so excited. He's like, bird. I'm just like, yo, like, you never knew what a bird was, but just seeing like how he now connects things and things that are flying, he calls birds. I just want him. My biggest fear is that, like, I don't want him to grow up and then be like, yo, I wish my mom would have done this, or I wish, like,
that's gonna happen.
I know, but I just want to, like, I can't wait to see who he becomes and how I can support that. If that makes any sense. Like, I'm really excited. Like, right now he loves cars. Like, he loves his vroom vroom, right? And so I just want, like, maybe he'll be a go-kart driver. Like, who knows? But it's just so funny. And I'm just so excited. That's the part that gets me so excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see Brooklyn grow. Like, every day is new for her. And it's just like refreshing to be integrated and it's better that it's your kid, but just like being around children that are discovering the world every day. And Brooklyn, like, she has this thing with, it's so weird with pharmaceutical commercials. Like, she will stop what she's doing and she pays so much attention, like Ozempic, like commercials that I never pay attention to. Brooklyn is like, and she sits and she listens. And I'm just like, is it the tone of the voice of these, like, when they're telling you the side effects? And she listens. And I'm just like, that is the weirdest.
Yo, but look, you wanted to be in drug rehab, right? So maybe
I know. And then I'm like, is this what's happening here? Because she, like, when I tell you, like, whatever she's doing, it's like, what's happening with Brent Plus? It's like, girl, it is so weird. And I'm just like, why? Like, why do you enjoy pharmaceutical commercials? Like, I want to know what that is. Like, I want to know why. And I wish I could be like, talk to her. Like, what is it?
Well, maybe like in 2 years, like when she gets older, she'll be able to tell you.
Yeah, she might be able to tell me. But right now it's so cool to see them like discover life. Everything is new. Everything. Like, it might be old to us, but it's brand new for them. And just watching them navigate that every day is amazing.
How do you balance? Because even with you, like, we didn't get to talk about you opening your studio, right? Congratulations. Right. You opened your own studio. You were hustling behind the scenes to make that happen.
Ooh, no.
What does balance look like for you now in your life?
There is none. I know that sounds crazy, but I have no balance. Whatever needs to be done gets done. And some days, if I send 100 emails and I'm on point, it's like, great.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I might have to sit and watch Motown Magic and nurse my baby for the day. Like, that's just what it is. And I have to make that sacrifice. I do not have balance. I figure out getting it done. Like, what's my time frame? Okay, it's going to be done. Balance is, okay, I have to have Brooklyn with me. So I will literally be like, yo, mom, can you come and just sit? Like, her godmother still comes to my house, and I'll just be like, can you come and sit while I just clean Brooklyn's room? Like, just play with her for an hour so I could, that's balance to me. Like, balance to me is leaning into your village. Like,
yep, and you need
I need to get this done. I need to go out for a second. I need to, take a breather. I need to get that done for myself so that I can come back and be the best mom possible. And I watched my mom take on a lot as a kid because she was a single mother, and we lived in New Jersey, and both my sister and our fathers are from New York. So they weren't, by default, they couldn't be here every day. So just seeing her take things on like that. And I just saw like, I don't remember a time where my mom like went out. You get what I'm saying? Like my mom never went to a club, a lounge. Like I could count on one hand and have 3 fingers left. So like my whole life. And I just don't want, like, one thing I promised myself is if I ever did become a mom, that I wouldn't be that mother. I would ask for help. And my mom took everything on, and she could do that. I can't. Like, I don't want to be overwhelmed.
And you were being honest with yourself, but you weren't going to try to go crazy trying to do it all.
I'm not about to be single mother of the, no, like, look, who's available Thursday? Like, we call it the village. We literally, I'll text, hey, I have to do a shoot in the city. I'm not bringing Brooklyn to New York. So, like, who can watch Brooklyn? Oh, I can. My sister will be like, I can watch her from this time to this time. And, you know, my mom will be like, and I'll come and relieve her. Or, you know, my sister, I'll come to the house and she'll bring my nieces and they'll all party or whatever. So Brooklyn doesn't have to be, you know, moved around because, again, it's hard when you have a baby in a pandemic.
It really is. They're not even used to a lot of...
Like, they're licking the floor and you're just like, Corona. Like,
coronavirus.
Seriously, like, you're eating dirt. You cannot do that. Have you ever heard the word pandemic? And it's just like, you still have to let them be babies, kids. But you're trying to protect them. So it's even just like, my niece, we homeschool our kids until they're able to like talk. So my oldest niece, who's 6 today, actually, her birthday's today, she got homeschooled. So we would take shifts, but it would be like when she's with me, we're going to the park or we're walking around the neighborhood or we're going to the zoo or we're at the movie. I can't do that with Brooklyn. You know, like you can't go to all these places in a pandemic. So it's like we have to create a pretty much like a utopia for her.
Yeah.
While she's there
at
to
home,
like create
right?
these experiences at home. Like I've never had so many toys and park activities ever in my life. It's crazy. But you make it happen. That's my balance.
Yeah. It's funny because I love that you mentioned it because you're just keeping it real because I feel like that's the biggest thing. You can do all things, but not all at once, right? Like,
no.
Like Monday, you could do that, but Tuesday, you got to try to fit something else in. That's what I'm learning as well. And just being more conscious of your time, right? Like we didn't realize how much time we had before you don't have as much time. So that's where I am with my life. With the King Elizabeth makeup artistry, right? What are your visions for that? Like, where do you see this taking you? And how happy are you that you took a chance on yourself?
Okay, so I'm so happy that I took a chance on myself. I think that just in life, building anything in life that you have that you worked hard for and you see it to fruition, it builds a confidence in you that I feel like working a regular 9-to-5, which is no shade, because some days I'll be like, you could just go and get a job. Like, and you won't have none of these problems.
I mean, you always could, right? Like your life could look totally different in 10 years. You never know. Yeah,
I tell people all the time, like, don't think I'm above going to get it. I'm not above it. I still will be doing King Elizabeth, but I'm not above getting another check. But it builds a certain confidence in you that I feel like I wouldn't have had if I just continued to work for somebody. I think that my journey to where I am today made me the mom as well that I am today, to let me, you know, be able to instill in Brooklyn that like, no, you literally can do everything. And just the fact, like, she's growing up in a space that her mother owns. Like, no, we're going to my mom's business where she has the key and she, you know, that alone, literally sometimes I get so emotional when I see her in here and I'm like, I can't even believe this is my life because one, never want a kid.
Mm-hmm. But right, look, your dream can change, or your dream can find you.
Now that my child is here, I'm like, my child is in my studio. Like, this is my stuff, my personal space, and she can do what she wants. Like, you know, this is a space for her. Like, she literally, I wish I could. She literally has a pack and play in here. She has a walker in here, and she can be cultivated and learn in such an environment, and that just makes me happy. Period. Let alone the fact that I did it. Like, you know, well, me and God and Google.
I love that.
We did it, and that alone makes me so happy because there were so many times that I wanted to give up, and I just think like, where would my life be if I actually gave up? And for King Elizabeth, where I want to take it next, I just want to scale. So, I have makeup brushes that I sell. I'm working on, I actually just finished my sample for lashes. So I just want to scale my business to product. There's some other things I'm working on that I actually can't discuss because I signed an NDA, but just people will see more of my life and more of who I am as a brand because I am so private. And, you follow me on social media. You know me in real life.
I get my little DM pictures, y'all. Y'all don't see Brooklyn, right? But I get my pictures every now and then.
Right. And that's so rare. It's so funny because people are like, oh, I'm so glad I'm one of the people that you trust to send pictures to. And I'm just like, but, just I'm very private. And although Brooklyn's never probably going to be plastered across anything that I have, but until she's old enough to run her own business, which we have Brooklyn's Beauty Box, until she's able to run that, the way she chooses to, she's not going to be on my page. But I want to scale it so that I have an immense amount of product. To be quite honest, I want to retire from doing makeup. I want to just check my bank account every day and ship stuff out. Like, that's just what it is. And like I want to do drop shipping. I want to have a manufacturer here in the US. I really want to cater when I do open up like a manufacturing company and things like that. That's, long term. Entrepreneurship is a long game. I like to tell everybody that, but it's a long game. When that happens, I want to cater towards Black beauty brands because it's really, really hard for us to cultivate and generate and create Black products for our people. Like they don't cater to us. And we're the largest consumer of beauty products, which is so crazy to me.
They don't want to give us money. They don't want to do anything.
They don't want to give us money. They don't want us to be able to shop unless we have a high quantity that we're purchasing, which is rare when you're starting out. It's just a lot of things. And then just having to ship from, another country and shipping fees. And when there's tariffs involved and if governments aren't agreeing and things like that, I just don't want other entrepreneurs to have to go through what I've been through and go through. So I want to try to alleviate that. But eventually I want to, once I retire from King Elizabeth, which hopefully will be, I have a plan in motion. But once I retire from this, I want to open up like a consulting firm that helps Black businesses, small Black businesses generate wealth for their families and how to do that. Because I don't think that, a lot of people pay these little, come to my seminar and I'm going to show you how to.
But it's not really giving you the real about like the real down and dirty.
Real. Or the fact that people pay for like, my friends that have paid for EIN numbers registrations. What are you paying for? It's free.
Right.
Like I literally
or
tell
even
them,
the LLC, like you could do that with the site, with the New Jersey's, site yourself.
I literally tell them like, why are you paying them all this money? Like I literally stopped telling my friends like, you could do that shit yourself.
Yeah.
Like because I had to do it myself. I had to navigate not having money. I couldn't afford to pay legal zone. I had to figure it out. Like I had to say, okay, well, how much does it cost for trademark? How much does it cost for this? Even just little tidbits. People ask me when I tell you business advice all the time, I'm just like, I should probably really put this down on some paper or
you never know.
Or something.
The thing that I wrote down as you were talking is your dream makes room for new dreams, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Dreams you never knew you had, such as your baby, right? Like you thought you would never be a mother, but now you are thriving in motherhood, right?
Yes.
You doing makeup, and now you have a makeup line. You going and consulting other, new projects. Like you really don't know where following just one little dream can take you.
Can take you, and that's where the trust in God comes from. And at this point in my life, I tell all my friends that ask me for advice, I'm like, yo, if you're going to become an entrepreneur, the one thing that I could tell you from the beginning is to just stick with the journey. Like, it's a roller coaster, bro. Some days you're going to be screaming. Some days you're going to be down low where you're like, okay, this is cool. Then it's going to go back up again. You're going to be like, what the hell I get myself into? I'm like, you just really can't lose focus of what the goal is. And by goal, I don't mean like, I want $1 million or whatever. What is the goal of why are you trying to do this? Like, what is the void that you're trying to fill?
Yeah.
And once you get that, just never take your eyes off of that. Like my goal in life has always been to help Black people and brown and Black people. That's always been my goal, even when I wanted to be a doctor. And now it's the same goal. You know, I just do it through the beauty industry, but that's my goal. And I'm just not going to stop until that's it. I'm going to die probably helping a Black person. I say that all the time. Like, I'm probably going to die helping a Black person. That's just or Black or brown person.
You know, I want to end the interview with this, right? So imagine you're in the car, right? You're in your car, you're looking through your rearview mirror, you see Brooklyn in the back, right? You're looking through the windshield now, the front windshield. Where are you going? What does, like, if a word were to pop up, where's the journey? What's that word that's popping up in your rearview mirror? Not your rearview, your windshield as you're driving. And this is the end of the movie, right? Like, if we were to black out on one word, what would that word be?
It's going to black out. Peace. I'm journeying to peace. That's it. Peace. Peace and abundance. An abundance of all things good. That's really it. I feel like people are always searching for something, but my journey in life has always been, I just need peace around me. Like, I cannot not have a peaceful space.
And you'll figure all the other stuff out. Like, I realized even with doing these interviews, like, I don't really focus on tactical stuff as much because, like, that's not the hard part about this. Like, you'll figure out the little business stuff. You'll figure that out. But it's really about figuring yourself out. Because you will be the person that will hold yourself back. Beyond, like, not figuring out trademarks, not figuring out all that other stuff. It's really figuring out you.
Just do it. And I think that, like, that leap of faith, like one of my friends, Mac Levin looks, she makes wigs, but, like before she started her company, she would call me and she would say, oh, I need to get this and I need to get that. I'm like, girl, you had a front row seat to my journey. I ain't have none of that shit. Like, I just was like, okay, I got a pink Buddha case. I got this much makeup. I'm gonna figure it out. Like, that's it. And I just started. I'm like, just start. You could prepare. You could read all the books in the world. You go to all the seminars you want. Yeah, you might get some information, but experience is the best teacher. And the way that I run my business may not be the way that you need to run your business as a podcast host, an interviewer, a journalist. That may not, I could give you advice, but that might not work for you and who you are as a person and how you choose to run your business. So I'm just like, just start and trust God and do the work. And walking your purpose is going to work. Like, it's just going to work. Eventually, if you knock at a door long enough, it's going to fall in. That's just how I feel. Like, if you keep banging, eventually the hinge is going to loosen, then keep banging and the door going to fall and you can walk in. You just got to keep knocking brick by brick. That's it. Lay a brick every day. And some days it's a half a brick.
Last question, right? To be a dream driver, you need your keys to success, right? So tell me 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their toolkit before they hit the road.
Oh, God, resilience, and good work ethic.
That's a big thing right there. Because you could have the best dream in the world, but if you don't want to do the work,
you don't do no work, it ain't gonna happen.
Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, like, superb work ethic. Like, and that's where the discipline comes in, where I said, like, my mom would say, you know, you have to, if you agree to do it, you have to see it through. And I remember Brooklyn's father, he has an older daughter, and when I would, like, make her bed all the time and she didn't want to do it, and I'll be like, let me explain to you why I'm doing this. It's not because when I walk in your room, because that's a rare occasion, I want it to be pretty. It's like, no, when you become an adult, there's going to be days where you don't want to do something, but you have to do it. Like, you have to, for your sustainability, your family sustainability, you have to do it. So there was plenty of days going to say, I didn't want to wake up at 5 a.m. I didn't want to be up at 3 a.m. But that's what making your bed when you don't feel like it will teach you.
Yep.
You know, like, that discipline, like, got to get up. You have to. There's no other option. So, like, after I explained that to her, she was like, okay. I'm like, it's discipline, girl. That's all it is. You know, discipline isn't always beating someone or, you know, something negative. It's sometimes just getting up and making your bed. You don't feel like, or there were plenty of nights where Brooklyn needed a bottle, and I'm like, oh Lord, I don't feel like getting up. Like, ugh. And it's just like, sis, you got to get up. That's the discipline of motherhood. You got to do it.
Who else you gonna let your baby starve?
Who else gonna do it? You gonna let your baby starve? Now you're gonna be a bad mom? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's the discipline of motherhood. That's I got a client, but Brooklyn got to be with me. So, like, I'm
you figure out. You put her in the
discipline.
rack. You figure out how to, like, that's the one thing for me.
That
motherhood
is the discipline of motherhood.
It made me realize everything is figure outable. All right. You got to cook dinner.
Fact.
You got to cook dinner your baby sleeping. You got to cook dinner your baby. You figure it out.
Okay. You figure that thing. Motherhood, I tell her, I know how to do everything with one hand. Everything. What you need done, I can do with one hand. I promise you.
Tell our audience, Jess, where they can find you online. If they want to connect with you, they want to learn more about your story and what you're up to, drop the details.
Okay, so you can go to my website, IamKingElizabeth.com. You go to my Instagram at I am King Elizabeth. You go to Facebook, King Elizabeth Makeup Artistry, Twitter, King Elizabeth. Everything's King Elizabeth. But if you Google me, I'm going to pop up anyway. So if you Google King Elizabeth Makeup, I will pop up and then you can find all my information there. But if you really want to connect with me, website and Instagram.
Well, thank you so much, Jess. This has been such a pleasure. I love that we're able to go full circle. And I'm just excited to see where you go, everything. Excited to see Brooklyn grow up.
You grow. Like, I can't. It's just so amazing. And the fact that, like, we both were pregnant at the same time. And, like, that's just so cool. You're my pandemic pregnant sister.
Thank you. Much love.
That's a sisterhood.
Listen, it is a sacred sisterhood, okay? All right, so that was a wrap for episode 281 with Jess. I hope you enjoyed hearing her dream driving journey as well as her keys to success. If you were inspired, if you were encouraged, if you were uplifted by this, please make sure that you're paying it forward and sharing this with your own community. I love when you guys are screenshotting when you're listening and sharing to Instagram stories, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you are online. Make sure that you're sharing and that you're tagging us as well. We are Dreams and Drive across the board on all social media platforms. And you can use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing as well. I love that we were able to chat motherhood. As you can hear, Axel is in the back, not caring that I'm trying to record an outro right now, but that's what life is about. That's what dream driving is about. It's about unexpected changes, but really realizing that those changes really can unleash new dreams that we never knew we had. If you want to join our weekly newsletter, The Keys, and get weekly updates via email, just sign up at dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. Or if you are somebody right now who feels like they have a story that needs to be on Dreams and Drive in 2022, go to dreamsanddrive.com/pitch. That's dreamsanddrive.com/pitch to submit your story and let me know why our dream drivers need to be encouraged and uplifted by what you have to share. As always, keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in episode 282. Bye, guys.